Hey guys, today we're looking at the Moto G 3rd generation and the Xiaomi Mi4i. Now both these phones are very similarly priced. If you're going out looking for a budget phone in the market, these two should be one of your top considerations. So in this video I'm going to help you decide which one to pick. So starting out, first things first, both of them have 5-inch screens. The Moto G on the left has a 720p screen, which is not actually the sharpest these days, considering the Xiaomi Mi4i has a 1080p screen, which is obviously much sharper. And the other big difference that you will see between the two phones, the Moto G in its 3rd generation is slightly bulkier. It's the thickness is about 11.6 millimeters, whereas the Xiaomi Mi4i is much thinner. It's about 7.8 millimeters, and it's also about 25 grams lighter at about 130 grams. Now at the outside you can see both of them have 13 megapixel cameras at the back and 5 megapixel cameras at the front. Now we've said this many times before, megapixels isn't everything. Even though both of them are 13 megapixels, I would say the Mi4i has a slightly better camera. Now when you compare shot to shot, most of the shots look very similar. The Moto G does seem a little flat in terms of colors, which is not a very bad thing, but for instantly sharing, and most users will actually like the results that come out from the Mi4i head to head, because there's slightly more contrast and saturation to them. And when you actually transfer these shots onto your computer and actually zoom in on any of them, you'll notice here, like in this one, on the top left corner, you'll see the blue patch on the wall. There is way more noise in the Moto G photograph compared to the Mi4i. And I just saw that across all photographs when I was comparing them head to head. I think the Mi4i is a sharper and better camera. Now coming to the processor part, this on the left, Moto G has a Snapdragon 410 chipset. This has a quad-core 1.4 GHz processor, and it comes with Adreno 306 GPU. The Xiaomi Mi4i on the other side comes with a Snapdragon 615 chipset and an octa-core processor with Adreno 405 GPU. So for your sake, we ran a benchmark test on both the phones. We actually ran Geekbench and AnTuTu. So it was quite interesting, because in the Geekbench score, it seemed like they were almost at par, and actually the Moto G trumped over the Xiaomi Mi4i in the single core performance. But when you turn to the AnTuTu benchmarks, it's a completely different story. The Mi4i has a much higher score than the Moto G 3rd gen. Now to be very honest with you, we use both the phones, and in real life performance you will not notice any difference between the two, especially when going around the interface, launching apps. In fact, the Moto G did launch certain apps before the Mi4i, which was a pleasant surprise. But when it comes to gaming performance and the kind of graphics that both the phones can churn out, it was very obvious. The Mi4i trumped over the Moto G. And just take a look at the graphics. When we were playing Asphalt, the Mi4i looked much better than the Moto G, not only in terms of graphics, but also this is where the 1080p screen completely shined. Now coming to the interface, this is something that Moto G is known for. They've given the pure Android experience, clean stock Android, no frills, nothing added, no extra apps, a lot of space to actually play around with. Whereas Xiaomi on the other hand has an absolute customized ROM. This is the MIUI ROM, and it actually is pretty customizable, a lot of add-on features here. This is actually recommended for a power user. He would really appreciate the MIUI user interface, whereas newbie to a smartphone or someone who's looking for a simple and clean interface would prefer the Moto G's clean stock Android. Now coming to the internals, in terms of the space, the Moto G comes with 16 GB of internal memory and 2 GB of RAM. That's the variant that costs 12,999 rupees. There is, however, a cheaper variant, about 1,000 rupees cheaper, which comes with only 8 GB of internal memory and 1 GB of RAM. Now I don't know why Motorola has even released that, because for 1,000 rupees more you're getting 1 GB extra RAM and 8 GB internal memory. It just doesn't make sense to buy the cheaper variant. The Xiaomi Mi4i on the other hand comes in two variants, 16 GB and 32 GB, and the 16 GB is retailing for just under 13,000, 12,999, and the 32 GB is retailing for 14,999 rupees. That's close to $236 and about just over $200 for the 16 GB. Now, just keep in mind, The Moto G this time around has expandable memory. All the previous generations, Moto G first gen, Moto G second gen, didn't have expandable memory, but this one has expandable memory, and that's a big deal because the Mi4i is absolutely sealed in and there's no way you can expand the memory. The whichever variant you buy, the 16 GB or the 32 GB, you're going to be stuck with that. And the other thing you're going to notice, both the batteries in this case are sealed in. Again, the Mi4i, now that we're talking about it, has a much larger battery, 3120 milliamp hours, in such a slim form factor, unbelievably well designed phone. And this one also, the Moto G also has been bumped up this time on the third gen, has a 2470 milliamp hour battery, but the battery is sealed in and it's not replaceable. And there is a reason for that, because the phone is water resistant. It's got the IPX7 certification, and this can be submerged in water for about 30 minutes in about a meter of depth, and which is good for day-to-day situations. I think it's an absolutely brilliant feature at such a price point, and I think more phones should adopt features like this, because the overall functionality and user experience actually improves with these functional features which are more useful to the user. Now, we've covered pretty much everything: expandable memory, waterproof, clean Android. That's what's going for the Moto G. And the Mi4i, on the other hand, has a much better screen, 1080p. You can't go wrong with that. It's absolutely brilliant. It's sharp. The phone is overall much lighter. I think I prefer the design of the Mi4i overall. I love this shape. It's actually reminds you of the iPhone 5C to a large extent. But I love this. It's really clean. It's really slim. And the phone is much lighter. And of course, it's more powerful with a better camera and better battery life. The Mi4i, I think, is an overall better phone, but the overall user experience, it will differ for people, because this has certain things going for it: expandable memory, as I said, clean Android, and some people actually swear by that clean Android interface and would not want a ROM like the MIUI. So what do you think of these two phones? Let me know in the comment section below, and which one are you actually thinking of buying? If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. And if you made it this far in the video, be nice, like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.